Welcome to Audience First, a podcast for tech marketers looking to break out of the echo chamber to better understand their audience and turn them into loyal customers. Every week, Danny Wolf has brutally honest conversations with busy tech buyers about what really motivates them, the things they hate that vendors do, and what you can do about it. Get access to practical information on how to build authentic relationships with your audience. Listen to and talk with your buyers, and apply real customer insights to your strategies and tactics. You owe it to the world to unmute your mic. Are you ready?
All right, welcome to another episode of Audience First. This is a special day because we are actually in the studio, and I have a very special guest who came out especially to see me. Thank you very much.
Yes, I did.
Mr. James Farrow. James, actually, you have been an Audience First follower for about 2 years now.
Yeah, at least.
At least 2 years, since the beginning of the podcast. And now James has come over from the dark side to actually, and we'll get to what the dark side is, but he came over from the dark side to actually build something for folks in the security space or in the IT space broader. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I love having you here. We had our hugs before we entered the studio.
We did. Yeah.
And you are much taller than
I look on camera.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
And we're missing your blue light glasses too.
Yeah, that's a staple in my wardrobe for sure.
Yeah, but I love having you here. Thank you for coming out. This is special.
Absolutely.
We might have to shift into getting people out for a live podcast episode.
There's something unique about being in person and being able to just connect. And I've seen you over Zoom many, many times and watched your pod, and it's great to see you and look you in the eye and say hello.
I love it. Super moment. So let's get into it. Let's talk about all the good things. But before that, tell me, James, who are you? What do you do? And why the hell do you do it?
Yeah. Well, first, you always ask this question, and it makes me smile every time. It's, so I'm James Farrow, and I was originally an AE at a cybersecurity company and started talking to buyers and things like that, and realized that my heart was on the other side. And so I decided to shift away from that and start building something that I think could really help the IT community and talk to a lot of different people. And you were a big part of that. And so I do it because I had a kind of a moment with this buyer named John Hurd. And John he's an IT director at a credit union, and we were working on a deal together. And the deal finally was getting approved by the board, and so I called him, and I'm all excited, right? And I just have commission breath at this point. And I'm like, John, the deal's getting approved, man. I'm so excited. How you feeling? And he goes, I hate buying software.
Yeah.
He goes, it's just overwhelming. My whole organization is relying on me to get it right, and it's cybersecurity. It's so important, right? Especially for a credit union. And he said, at the end of the day, I'm just somebody's dad. And that really kind of stuck with me. And it just changed the way that I look at. Before I was looking at these, I was calling them prospects, right? And they're human beings. Yeah. And so when John said I'm just somebody's dad, it just changed something about me and the way that I look at the community and the whole process and even just business. And it's just a bunch of people. Yeah. And so that's why I do it, is for people like John who are just somebody's dad or just somebody's mom who's doing their best. And I wanted to be part of the solution, and I felt like I was part of the problem, and so I left.
Yeah, wow, that was the change moment. But I want to dig into that a little bit. We always, that's the key phrase in my podcast is like, let's dig into it. And we have these talking points, but I want to shift now to talk about that change moment and pull on that thread a little bit. So take me through a little bit what it was like when you finally realized that we're dealing with human beings who are emotional, who have, ups and downs in life, who hate the buying process. You decided to get up and leave. Was that immediate, or was it like a phased approach? And then, like, what happened afterwards? What did you do afterwards? What was going on in your mind? Can you take me through that?
Yeah. The first thing that happened was that I, for the first time, realized that I need to understand these customers as people.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that. I started having much different conversations, even though they were demos and sales calls. I approached them differently. I approached them with much more humanity.
Yeah.
And I really, really wanted to understand. And I was no longer pretending I had a silver bullet. And I wasn't even pretending. I was actually brainwashed by the companies that I worked for. I thought that was the reality.
Okay, there's another thread that we're going to pull on.
Yeah, absolutely. But I shifted to really trying to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And no longer was I trying to sell people.
Yeah.
I really wanted to know, what are the challenges? And how does that impact you? Not your business. How does that impact you?
Yeah.
Right? And the more that I approached it that way, the more I learned. And that was kind of like a phased approach in a way, but it was almost overnight of shifting that perspective. The phased approach came from me actually kind of realizing, okay, maybe I can help a little bit more, and leaving my company that I was at and kind of, where we're here today.
Yeah. Leaving, did it allow you to kind of, well, I'll take it back a little bit, because when we started our engagement, you were listening into audience first, and you were really curious about some of the things that we were extracting on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And in engaging with you and having conversations with you, what I realized is that you're really good at asking questions and really digging into understand people. I mean, I tell people to do this on a regular basis and practice it, but I really think you've done a great job, and I've seen how you progressed with regards to like getting to know people deeply, so that you can then help them and apply that to the business, not just for you, but for their business. How have you really fostered and nurtured that skill?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a phased approach, or did you practice? Did you read up on it? Tell me a little bit about how that panned out for you.
There's a book
Mm-hmm.
called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Very popular book. If you haven't read it, you should read it. I try to read it about once a year.
Yeah.
And it's changed my personal life so much, but I think it's chapter 5, and it's titled Seek First to Understand Before Being Understood.
Yeah.
And that chapter really kind of changed my personal life, but also my professional life of I was always the person who was the loudest in the room and always wanted to be heard. And I'd get into arguments because I wasn't listening.
Yeah.
And this was in my younger years. And as I've kind of gotten older, I realized it's so much more important for me to understand where the other person's coming from.
Yeah.
And I brought that into my professional life, into the questions that I ask. And he says this thing, he says, you need to diagnose before you prescribe. Like, imagine if you went into a doctor's office and they just said, you go, my elbow hurts, and they go, okay, let me write you a prescription.
Yeah.
They don't dig into it at all, right? You'd be like, whoa, like you don't really even understand what's going on. And so I think that diagnose before you prescribe really helped me ask more questions. And I really, really want to understand what's going on before I give any opinion whatsoever. And maybe I can't help at all.
Yeah.
And like, I wasn't comfortable saying that before when I was on the selling side.
Mm-hmm.
And after I had that conversation with John and I started leading with empathy and trying to understand, I was so much more comfortable saying, hey, based on everything you shared, I don't think this is actually the right fit for you.
Yeah.
And that gave me so much confidence that I'm actually helping people.
Yeah. And that's a skill, by the way, both. 2 skills. One is being able to diagnose a problem. And remind me, have you heard of the podcast called Everyone Hates Marketers?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
no.
So this guy, I don't know if he still has the podcast. His name is Louis Grenier, and he largely targets B2B marketers. And his podcast talks about how everyone hates marketers and why, but he talks about just diagnosing the problem before actually persuading people. Right. And that actually it's funny that you mention it, because that's what got me into doing what I'm doing today. I talked to him and I said, hey, like, I feel like I'm onto something. I don't know what it is. And then in listening to him, I realized that that's what's missing in this industry is diagnosing the problems.
And what was his name?
Louis Grenier.
So Louis Grenier to you is what you were to me.
Oh my God.
When I first, because I kind of had those feelings, right?
Yeah.
On my own. And I'm working from home and just kind of like in my own little world. But I just felt a little I felt like I was thinking differently than the other sellers and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why I connected and resonated with you so much, because you were doing and saying and feeling the things that I was. And so I just latched on.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm humbled. I'm, getting off fajaja right now, I love it. And, paying it forward from Louis, and I am sure he's paid it forward from some of his mentors as well. But I just find your journey so inspiring, and how you've shifted to Cyft.
Mm-hmm.
Shifting to sifting. So I know that. But tell me a little bit of how you've come up with the decision to create Cyft. Like, what is Cyft? Because it's transitioned into from one thing to another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Our initial engagement was, let's talk to a shitload of IT buyers and figure out how they evaluate. What are the challenges with evaluation?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what it was, what it is now, and where it's going.
Yeah, it's evolved over time.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love about it, is the more that I learn, the more I learn how I can help. Mm-hmm. And we initially started out looking at the buyer's journey and saying, okay, here's the buyer's journey as it exists today. How do buyers actually want to buy?
Yeah.
That was kind of our first North Star that we wanted to understand. And so we started talking to IT buyers and asking them about the challenges buying cybersecurity products to start, right? Because that was where my background was in.
Right.
And we kind of realized that there's some gaps between the way things work today versus how buyers actually want to buy. So we built an early product that we thought would bridge that gap. What we realized, though, was in order for us to help the most IT buyers, we needed to find a different way to engage with them.
Mm-hmm.
Getting people to like a two-sided marketplace or this and that, it really wasn't the answer. And people don't want another thing to log into, right? They have so many different tools and all this stuff, right? So we decided, okay, who helps IT buyers in the way that we want to?
Mm-hmm.
And it was their partners, these MSPs and value-added resellers. And so we decided, okay, if we can help them, help their customers buy how they want to buy, we can reach the maximum amount of people possible. And so we evolved from going direct to the IT buyers to working with the MSPs and the value-added resellers. And that's kind of how we got where we are today.
And that's inspiring, because you did that off the back of a lot of customer research.
Yes.
If you wouldn't have done that, you probably wouldn't have shifted to new and broader, more strategic approaches to business. I want to, so we did a lot of research with the IT buyers. We're doing some research with the MSPs now and the sales professionals, people that, we're very familiar with, which, by the way, is very compelling for me, because I mostly do IT buyer research.
Yeah.
So hearing kind of our problems is
it's a new perspective.
Is a new perspective, and it's nice to kind of get that refresher. It keeps us on our toes. But I want to kind of understand, in your opinion, from the experience doing the research, on the IT buyer side, what was one of the most polarizing or most surprising insight that you pulled out of some of the research that you've done?
Ooh, that's such a good question. I think, one of the big things was we don't want another tool to log into.
Yeah.
That was huge. A second one was that pricing is so gated.
Yeah.
At a lot of these organizations, and people just want to know how much it costs. And I thought it was so simple, right? But why aren't the vendors doing it? Your buyers want to know how much it costs, at least a baseline, so they can see if it's worth taking a demo. If they can't afford it, then it's not, right? And I realized, being on the seller side previously, like, we gate our price so we can get you into the conversation, convince you that it's worth it, and sell you a Lamborghini when you just needed, a taxi ride across town.
Right.
And so that was really interesting to me. It was a very simple insight. But there's so much about, I guess, to kind of summarize it up, the big insight was how much information is gated by the vendors.
Yeah.
And how much buyers just want access to the information. They want brass tacks. And the vendors are, whether intentionally or not, confusing the market. All of these acronyms, all of these, gating their prices. It's hard to even compare them apples to apples because they're trying to keep up with each other, right? In terms of like, oh, well, we do MDR, but let's call it XDR and let's call it this EDR. You know, it's infinite DRs,
Yeah.
right? And it's just confusing the market. You're not helping the buyers buy.
Yeah.
And so that was really interesting to me. It's just the gap between the amount of information offered by the vendors and how much information and the access to the information that the IT buyers want.
Right. And so we're now doing some research, interviewing sales professionals over at the MSPs, in talking to some of those folks and in shifting Cyft. What are some of the surprising insights you see there? And then I want to break this to two questions. Surprising insight, and then how do you see that in terms of a gap, or how do you envision it bridging that between the insights you've heard from the IT side and the sales side, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it does. The most interesting thing to me was that a lot of the sales reps actually care. I really thought they were going to be lone wolf commission hunters, and those people are out there. But it seems like a lot of these reps care, but they're working within a system that doesn't incentivize that and doesn't reward that, or even create space for them to care. And so that was really, really interesting, is that they're conflicted as well.
Yeah.
And they get a really bad rap when they have to send out 50 emails a day because they have to put food on the table for their own families, right? They're just somebody's mom or dad too.
Right.
And their company's forcing them to do these things that feel unnatural for them. And so I kind of went into it with the assumption that they were going to be, you know, what's in it for me kind of people.
Yeah.
But everyone that we've talked about, and maybe you just have like an awesome network of people, I don't know. But everyone we've talked to is like, they feel conflicted as well.
Yeah.
And they kind of feel stuck.
Well, why do you think so? You talked in the beginning about almost feeling brainwashed. Let's go down that rabbit hole a little bit. Like, what is it about the culture, the environment that makes you feel that way, and others who are feeling conflicted? Why do you think that is?
I think there's kind of two sides to sales.
Yeah.
And the one side is, how do you convince someone to buy something?
Yeah.
And the other side is, how do you understand what someone needs? And I think I had been living in a ecosystem that was all about, how do you get someone to buy something? How do we get our product into their tech stack? Right? And so here are the questions that you need to ask. I mean, they literally called it walking the dog, which I just hate, right? Like that
patronizing a little bit.
Right. It's terrible.
It's kind
but
of
like
degrading.
that's how some of these people talked.
Yeah.
And how I felt, because that was the only thing I knew. And so they take you through and say, these are the questions you need to ask, because it sets them up so that they can't say no.
No.
Right. And so that was like one side of sales, which you called earlier the dark side.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly is trying to convince someone that they need something. Let's dig for the pain, right? And really grill it in and all of these things. And I was doing that, and I did it really well.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't know any better. And then the other side of sales is, let me understand.
Right.
Let me diagnose. Let me see if they actually need our help.
Yeah.
And if I can help, I'll tell you. And if I can't, I'm going to also tell you that. And that's kind of the lighter side of sales, right? So yeah,
that's the value driven side of sales over the push versus pull, if you will.
Yeah. And it's just like going to close deals. I mean, even the language that they use. Let's go hunt, right? Killer mentality. Like all of those, even the language around sales was just like totally opposite of being a human and looking at people as people.
Yeah.
And it just, once I saw the other side, I couldn't unsee how destructive and not right that felt.
You know, before we get into kind of how Cyft helps with that mindset and also helps drive forward, you know, sales and helps the buyers as well, I want to focus and kind of drill down into any advice you have for folks in that position right now who kind of are in a tough spot, like between a rock and a hard place. They might not feel the, you know, feel the opportunity or feel confidence in jumping ship and starting a startup
Yeah.
or even going elsewhere to another job. They're kind of stuck in this right now because this is what they have to do in order to keep the lights on and put food on the table. Like, what is some advice that you could give to folks who are on the sales side and feeling this pressure and this internal conflict and feel that there might be some, you know, we're treading on a little bit of an unethical line? What are some things that you can kind of tell them today?
Yeah, I would say you need to find your tribe. You need to find like-minded people who want to sell the way you want to sell, who want to understand their customers. And there's no better place to do that than Audience First. There just isn't.
Ooh.
Listen to the podcasts, understand how buyers want to buy. If you have to send emails and you have like an email quota, then make sure that those emails resonate and add value. And you've put out so much information for people who are like that, even if you have to work within the constraints of your organization and hit KPIs and all these things, you can do it in a way that actually serves the community. And if you want those answers, she's sitting right here and has told you everything you need to know. And that's the advice I would give is subscribe to Audience First.
That's awesome. See, we're here to promote you. We're not here to promote you. But see, folks,
you asked.
This is what advocacy is like, right? The more value you give and the more you connect with people that, you know, listen to you. Here we are. We're sitting here today in person after 2+ years.
Absolutely.
And he's promoting me versus me promoting him. Well, we're about to get to Cyft right now. I appreciate that, by the way.
Yeah.
I really do. That's what it's about, right? Like giving access to information. That was my, like, sitting in a difficult spot myself. My change moment was because I knew that, you know, we were doing things unethically as well from a marketing side. I just generalizing a little bit, but as an industry, I saw that there were a lot of problems. And so, which is why, you know, Audience First exists, is to give access to the information, the right thing to do based off of the evidence, not based off of what I'm saying in an echo chamber, but based off of what the actual customers are saying. So,
and I want to add one thing to that, because I kind of talked to you earlier about how I changed the way that I approached sales conversations. I also ended up closing more deals than I'd ever closed in my career.
Nice. In a short period of time, probably.
Very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
That's
because
profound.
people felt understood.
Yeah.
When I told them that we can help and I showed them and I didn't sell them, they felt confident in it. And when I gave them information, when they asked me for pricing, I'd give it to them right then and there.
Yeah.
They just wanted the information so that they could make the best decision possible. So if you are feeling that way, like you're working within a system that doesn't reward the empathy that you want to actually bring to the table, you can still do that within the constraints, and you're probably going to have much better results because you're going to have better conversations. People are going to feel more comfortable with you. So do it anyways, I guess, is what I'd say.
Yeah, and I'd say just like reducing that friction is so critical, because today, like, you know, well, in general, IT buyers, they don't have any time. Just give me the information. That's one.
Yeah.
Two, we're in like an economy where people want things quick, right? You know, you see how things are short and choppy on social media, and we're not necessarily losing attention. We don't have loss of attention, I don't think. People are just smarter. That's it.
Yeah.
They're just smarter.
They see through it.
Yeah. I want to shift to Cyft now. Woo!
Cool.
Rhyming. So you shifted from focusing on the IT buyer to the MSPs so that the MSPs can help the IT buyers a little bit better. How does that look from a technology standpoint? Like, what is Cyft doing?
Yeah. So we never shifted away from the IT buyer. We just shifted kind of how we
Go to market.
Yeah. And so initially, I mean, one of the big things that matters is those sales reps we were talking about, who surprisingly to me actually do care. We need a way for them to capture all of these conversations that they're having and be able to add value back to their customers in a real way.
Yeah.
And so we built speech to CRM as the first feature, which allows these sellers to have much more productive conversations because they're not having to spend so much time taking notes back into their CRM, moving deals around, all of that admin and process that takes forever. We've made it really simple.
Yeah.
So they can dictate into their phone and say, hey, show me all of my deals with a Q1 close date that I haven't reached out to in the last 2 weeks, and get that information immediately instead of having to go through 11 pages and 16 different filters just to try to get those insights. And so that's the power of AI, right? We're in basically the technological revolution of our lifetime, and it's a blank slate. And so people who are creative have this freedom for the first time since the internet boom.
Yeah.
Right. And so what are we going to do with that?
Yeah.
And what we want to do is reimagine B2B software sales and transform it so that buyers can buy in the way that they actually want to. And that's really where our focus is. And of course, initially we're working with the MSPs to help their businesses run more efficiently. But that's so we can make it easier for them to serve their customers in the way that their customers actually want to buy.
Yeah.
That's why we're still interviewing IT buyers and still having those conversations. How do we get it so that it's really easy for your reps to share pricing?
Yeah.
How do we get it so that you can help create a business case for this IT manager who's so busy and needs to present to the board and maybe isn't going to present because she's not confident, right? We need to prepare her with an awesome business case.
Right.
But it's so difficult for reps because time is finite to be able to serve their customers in that way for every single conversation, every single customer. But AI and Cyft allows them to do that. And so we still are 100% focused on serving the end user. It's the medium is the MSPs and the value-added resellers.
How do you differ from something like Gong, for example?
So Gong is a tool to help sellers sell.
Yeah.
Our perspective is that we want to help sellers help their customers buy how they want to.
Oh, okay, there you go. Which then in turn gets you to your objective.
In the exact same way that once I started understanding customers and not just selling to them, I actually closed more business.
Yep.
We think the same thing is true, not just on a rep level, but for entire organizations.
Yep. So you mentioned that, we're now in a time where AI is at our fingertips. And I've been asking folks this on a regular basis, both from the go-to-market side and also the security practitioner side. Why do you think AI has been around for a long time, but why do you think it's in its infancy right now?
So the infancy is the consumer side.
Yeah.
Right. It's you and me having access to it.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that part is really early. And like what we can do with it and things like that.
Where do you think that we're heading with regards to some of the, regulation issues and the privacy issues, and how are you addressing that as a company who's getting, access to data and dealing with both the IT side and the MSP side?
Yeah, there's kind of two sides to that coin. And number one is that if the government decides to really crack down, the technology is not going away.
Yeah.
It's going to go overseas. And that's where people are going to build, right? And so we hope that the United States can really lead the charge with AI, and that we have the support of the government, who needs to understand it's inevitable and better to be built here than elsewhere.
Yeah.
The other side is, how is Cyft thinking about it? Cybersecurity is our number one priority.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the biggest roadblock to mass adoption for any AI company. So what are you doing with my data? How do I know it's safe? What does your cybersecurity practice look like?
Yeah.
And so that's something that we think about and talk about every day, and something that's evolving too, right? I don't think if someone jumps on here and says, here's exactly what you need to do from a cybersecurity standpoint for AI, like I'm calling BS on that, because I think we're all figuring it out as we go. And so, yeah, it's something that's really important to our business.
And I imagine that it's also important to your customers as well, and also the end users, or not the end users, but like the customers, the MSP sales professionals, but also the IT buyers. What is your kind of plan to make sure they're enabled and informed about your use of AI and just AI in general, if that is at all a priority, which I assume it is?
100% transparency.
Yeah.
Having a page that says, this is exactly what we do.
Yeah.
Here is our cybersecurity practice. So we follow OWASP SAM, and we're going to publish every single update that we have right on our home screen. It's not gated. You don't have to put your email in to get it. We're going to just be completely transparent about where we're at and what we're doing.
Yeah. How do you envision AI further enhancing just the sales process for leaders in the MSP role, or in general for sales leaders?
I think it's kind of like money, where it's going to exaggerate who you already are. If you're a kind, generous person and you get a lot of money, it's just going to probably exaggerate that.
Yeah.
And if you're already a crappy, selfish person and you're mean, whatever, like the money's going to make you worse.
Yeah.
And I think the same with AI is the companies that are thinking about how to serve their customers, thinking about how to lead with empathy.
Yeah.
AI is going to supercharge that. And the companies who are just thinking, how do we just prospect the hell out of this community and just grill them and trick them into thinking this is personalized. And, they're already doing that, right? And AI is just going to exaggerate that.
Yeah. I see it as if you're smart and have a little bit of empathy, you'd use AI as lane lines, not let's go all in. Like it's a supplement or supporting technology for you. But, they're in the conversations I have with security practitioners, also like thinking about it from a marketing perspective. I talk to people. I'm a marketer, and part of me marketing to people and selling to people, I'm still a salesperson. Let's be real, okay? I'm still coming to terms with that, by the way, that I'm a seller. But losing that human touch is a risk. And I can't rely on AI 100%. This being given it's in its infancy, but I don't know. I'm a little bit of a skeptic, and I'm treading very lightly.
Yeah.
Kind of testing the waters.
The human touch is important.
Yeah.
And AI can be a second brain for the people that actually care.
Right.
And my co-founder, Mark, tells me once a week, says, James, people don't give a shit what you know until they know you give a shit.
Yeah. That's true.
And we've taken that approach kind of to what we've built with this first speech to CRM feature, which is the folks that do care about their relationships and their business relationships, but don't have the mind capacity to be able to remember every single detail. Like AI allows you to do that.
Yep.
And so some of our early customers are using it in ways that are really awesome, where they want to document personal anecdotes.
Right.
And it's not so that they can trick customers and close deals. It's so that they can remember. Who doesn't want to remember their friend's birthday?
Yeah.
Right? Who doesn't want to ask, oh yeah, you took your daughter to the Grand Canyon. How was it? Like everyone wants, good people want to remember those things, but we forget and, whatever. And AI allows us to kind of have a second brain where I can quickly look and, I'm going to meet with Danny and I can remember kind of our last conversation. I'm like, oh yeah. She was doing this really cool thing that she's interested in. Yeah. And I genuinely want to follow up on that. And I'm so happy that I can now remember all of those details.
So like, what are you mentioned, some early customers, but what are the qualities of some of the early adopters that you want to bring on for Cyft? You're looking for?
I think it's people who realize, or it's MSPs primarily, who realize that AI is not going away. And that by adopting it early, they're going to have a tremendous advantage over the organizations that aren't, and who want to be part of the conversation around how AI is going to impact their business.
Yeah.
So all of our early customers are going to be design partners, essentially.
Yeah.
We're working together. We're doing customer discovery together. Like, let's figure out the best way for this technology to exist within your industry. And for the folks that want to be a part of that conversation, come over to Cyft. We're building it.
Yeah. I love
right?
it. I'll be there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be there. I'll be an early adopter because I need some more. I'm forgetful, very forgetful. So having a second brain would be very useful for me these days. Tell me a little bit about kind of where you are right now. We spoke about, but where do you want to be in the short term, and then kind of what's your long-term vision for Cyft?
Yeah, in the short term, we want some of those customers who want to help us design the future of AI within the MSP IT buying space.
Yeah.
That's really the short term and where we're primarily focused right now. And it feels a lot like we're a development team rather than a startup.
Yeah.
Because we're working with our customers, we're working with their customers, having so many conversations, taking those down and then building features that help them help their customers.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's really kind of the short term is let's have conversations and figure out what the hell we need to build that makes this world just a better place. Right.
Yeah.
And then in the longer term, we hope that we can reimagine software sales and B2B evaluations and procurement globally, where no longer are you just jumping into a vendor's sales cycle and getting pressured because they have end of quarter.
Yeah.
Like, how do we make it so that it's easy? And how do we make it so that information is accessible?
Ooh.
And that you can easily compare vendors and take a vendor and all of the features and things that they offer and map it to your compliance requirements with a click of a button. AI allows us to do that. And those are the things that we're developing internally now that we intend to roll out in the future. And we want to hear from IT buyers and the MSPs of exactly what they want because we can build it.
What's your kind of time frame for rolling out to the general public?
I'd say it's really going to be dependent on how quickly we get our early customers onboarded and start to understand not just how we intend them to use the tool and the platform, but how are they actually using it?
Yeah.
And one example, like I said earlier, is it was news to us that sellers wanted to document personal anecdotes when they're on a golf course with a buyer, right?
Yeah.
And something funny happens or this and that they wanted that information in their CRM so they can have that refresher, right?
That's a huge use case.
Absolutely.
You know, we're heading into event season.
Oh, yeah.
Right? You got RSA coming up, Black Hat's short 5 months away, something like that, which goes by like that. So I imagine having, Cyft available while you're in the field or just, taking a customer to dinner or to your point, on the golf course could be super valuable to just capture that unique experience that, you might miss out, even the smallest nuances, right?
And how many conversations are you going to have?
Yeah.
Right. And the information loss between having a conversation on the event floor, going to the happy hour, going to dinner, and then getting back to your hotel, probably a few drinks in. And then maybe you're quickly typing in those notes and their bullet points, right? Cyft allows you to just quickly step to the side, take out your phone, mind dump, and it doesn't have to be structured. That's the beauty of AI. You can just mind dump everything that you just talked about, and then it shows up structured, directly integrates into your CRM, and you have all that awesome information.
Oh, gone are the days of the lead capture machines. Oh my gosh, those were the worst.
Yeah, or getting someone's business card and you write down 3 notes, like follow up in June, looking at managed detection and response. It's that's not that
I remember
helpful.
the days where I had to this was 10 years ago maybe, where I was running an event, a Microsoft event. I don't remember what the big Microsoft event is. It's like at the tip of my tongue. And the CMO goes, "Here are all the business cards. Plug them in." I'm like, "Oh shit!" This is. I remember sitting at a McDonald's before my flight, just plugging in fucking business cards. into Excel. That's the worst.
Nuts. Yeah, we can do better.
Oh yeah, I know, 100%. All right, we have 15 minutes left, and I'm gonna save room for my favorite part of the Audience First podcast, which is the shit list. And you know that I ask IT buyers, what's the worst thing that you think vendors are doing, sales, marketing, founders, vendors in general, and why? But I want to flip it.
Sure.
And ask, what do you think are the cardinal rules IT buyers are making with regards to their behavior and interaction with vendors?
That's a
curveball.
Yes.
You weren't prepared for this.
I think transparency's unfortunately a differentiator. Like the companies that are putting their cards on the table and saying, here's what we do and how we do it, that's becoming almost a requirement for IT buyers. They no longer want the Wizard of Oz sales cycle where everything's behind a curtain, right? And I think that's becoming something that is quickly a requirement for IT buyers, and that vendors really need to turn on their listening ears and say, okay, my customers are talking and they're all saying that they want access to information and want us to be transparent. And really looking internally, like what's our fear around that?
Okay, but I'm asking you about IT buyers.
Oh, what is their cardinal rule?
No, what cardinal rules are they breaking? I don't know if I asked it originally well. What are the cardinal rules IT buyers are breaking with regards to collaborating or communicating with vendors?
I don't know that they are.
I have some.
I want to hear yours.
Well, I think a big cardinal rule is one, not being accessible and collaborative. Like assuming and bucketing marketers and salespeople into a stereotype and not being open to feedback and not giving that feedback. That's one, I think, a rule that some IT buyers are kind of catching on to. Second is the mafioso kind of egos. Like, I am godly, so you may not speak to me, or you shall, treat me as such, which I think, come on, like, we're human beings, like, come back down to earth. I've come across some, schmucks, but that's, the world. But the biggest one is just not being accessible for teams who want to innovate and do things better for them. I think.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know quite. I have an assumption. I think it's because of traditionally how they're perceived. They're in these, senior positions. And again, I talk to a lot of C-level folks. So they're in these C-level positions and they rank relatively high within an organization. So again, treat me as such. There's that complex and that ego. My assumption is also perhaps the demographic, which I think is shifting as well. You're dealing with a specific type of person that is also dealing with engaging with younger folk. And so there might be a little bit of, patronizing behavior there as well. Like, I am much older than you and you are a newbie or a young'un within a sales function. Like, I know better than you kind of thing.
Sure.
But that's a huge assumption, right? Like, I don't know what the actual reason is.
Do you think it matters who asked who on the date?
Break that down for me a little bit.
Outbound versus inbound.
Huge, but yes and no, if that makes sense. I am a strong believer that outbound can work if you do it correctly. And so it depends how. Right?
Does the buyer behavior or like our expectations of the buyer, is it different if they're seeking out the vendor versus the vendor reaching out to them?
Oh, of course. I mean, obviously, if someone is seeking me out, their intent is much higher, right? And, the assumption is you're interested, so we can move a little bit quicker to my place versus it'll take me, a little bit longer to get someone over to my place.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The reason I ask is, like, when you talk about being accessible, like, these folks are bombarded with sellers constantly. 99.9% of the time, they don't need what that person's selling.
Yeah.
And protecting their own time and protecting their peace, I think, is really, really important. And there's a way to do that.
Yes.
That's healthy and productive for the community, and there's a way not to do it.
Yes.
Right? And so let's not do the not way.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, when you think about the right way to not be accessible and the wrong way to not be accessible, what have you seen?
The wrong way is there are two main wrong ways. The wrong way is slapping someone on the wrist and putting them down. Granted, I've slapped people on the wrist and put them down. We do it kind of regularly on WTF every single week, but we try to be productive. The most important, well, again, the second wrong way is taking advantage of that person and then ghosting them, right? As a buyer, for opportunistic reasons, right? And we talk about that also on WTF. But if you're going to give someone constructive criticism and say no, the right way is here's why. And again, that's what Chris tries to do on WTF. Like, you've clearly not listened, so we're going to talk about it, and here's a better approach to do that. Even if it feels a little bit like constructive criticism, deal with it. Like, you got to improve. This is a golden opportunity for you to improve. The second is just to be upfront and say, hey, like, no. Like, not right now, right?
And the vendors need to respect that.
Yeah, 100%. No is no. No means no. We have a full episode on that. But what I found super productive in outreaching folks, particularly CISOs, is I give them an option. Hey, you want to talk? I don't want to sell you, but I need a little bit of feedback. Are you in now? Are you in later? Or are you out? And then you're just giving them an option to say no and respect that no. I think that's the right way, is as a buyer, say no and respond. And even if it's like, it doesn't take very long just to say no. Or, you can go silent. I think that's okay. But most of the people that I talk to say no. I'm like, awesome. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because then it doesn't waste my time.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I wish more folks did that. It does take a little bit of investment. But the change makers in this industry who are on the security side, take that approach, that right approach. They do invest the time to say no or to say yes or not now, maybe later. And I highly appreciate that. Really, I do.
And I think one of the big things that vendors can do is provide something that they can quickly say yes or no to.
Yeah.
Not a vlog, or a blog, excuse me, of what your company does with 14 attachments.
Yeah.
That's where you get ghosted. They can't even say no to that.
Yeah.
Because it's just too much.
That's where the silence will come in.
Yeah.
It's just
give
too
them
much.
something to quickly say yes or no to.
Yeah.
Right? Are you interested in it? Yes or no?
I always set it up with expectation. Like, here's what I need from you. Here's the time commitment. And it's not 15 minutes. It's generally like 30 to 45 minutes. Yes, no, maybe so. And it works most of the time, right? I will say that I do get, silence, but that's normal to be expected. But yeah, it's there's a lot to be improved upon. And I think this advice is really going to help a lot of folks.
Yeah. And I do have one thing to add.
Yeah.
It's that a cardinal rule, right, that they're breaking.
Yeah.
Is blacklisting entire organizations because of one bad seller outreach. I think that's a huge miss and a mistake.
Is there a short story behind this?
I've just seen it on LinkedIn where they're like, this entry-level salesperson reached out to me in some quirky way, and I'm blacklisting the entire organization. I will never work with them moving forward. Come on.
Yeah.
That's a mistake. It's so short-sighted. And a lot of these people are fresh out of college, and they're trying to be creative and stand out, and it might have come off scammy or insensitive, or it just didn't resonate with you personally, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But you don't need to blacklist the entire organization. I mean, maybe forward it to their leadership and say, hey, this just didn't resonate. Just want to let you know, or don't say anything.
Yeah.
But I just think that's a bad precedent to set, and then to publicize it and promote that as like, I'm high and mighty because I'm blacklisting this off of a bad email from an entry-level salesperson. Like, come on.
No fair.
Yeah.
All right, we have 5 minutes left. I want to open the floor for you. You said you had some questions for me, and then we'll get to some imparting thoughts.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
The initial question is the one that you always ask is, I've been following you for so long and looked up to you for the last couple of years, and the way that you approach the community and how you resonate and the questions you ask and your curiosity. Why the hell do you do it?
I strongly believe there's a better way to approach things in a specific space that is doing the right thing for the world. Like, as it sounds noble and maybe a little bit cliche, but I am a mother, I am a protector, and if I can be on the side of protection, I want to be there all day. And if I can enable the protectors, that's an awesome spot to be in. And when I see that the people who have to enable and help I don't know if it actually enable is the right word, but empower and arm the people who are protecting me. If they're doing a disservice to them and causing friction and frustration and making them disgruntled, I do not want to be part of that problem. I want to flip that script so fast. And I see that a lot of folks who are on the GTM side and on the business side, well, frankly, security is also on the business side. Let's be real. I see that they're not educated and they're not getting the right information. They're getting information from 10, 15 years ago. We're not in the same time frame. We are so ahead, right? We need to understand people, not technology, not, markets. We have to understand people. They impact the technology. They impact the market. They impact our security. And so I'm all like, when I got into this space, I said, I'm not leaving this space. This is where I found my home. This is where I want to be. This is the comfort zone. Ironically, security is a comfort. It's weird because it's a hard place to be. There's a lot of improvement that's needed, but yeah, this is why I'm doing it. I really believe that we can shift mindset, and I want to be part of that change. I want to be a change maker. And I meet a lot of security folks who are change makers, who are tinkerers, who are so creative, and so compassionate and empathetic, and those are and smart. Holy shit! I'm among some of the geniuses of the world, and I want to be in that space. Let's be real. It fuels me to be in this space, and I want to make a little bit of change for the better because it's scary out there. Let's be real. We see what's happening now in the world. It's frightening, and if we can be part of the protection and preventing some of the crap going on, I want to be part of the equation.
Yeah, I can see I'm on
really
your
passionate,
face.
Really passionate about it.
I mean, you're emotional,
and
this matters to you in a very real way, and I can see how
I'm gonna get all again.
How genuine that is. And it's rare. There's not a lot of people like you who care that deeply, really and it really shows up in the things that you put out, and the work that you're doing. And I'm curious, what is the vision for Audience First?
Getting people to access as much customer research, the psychographic data,
the people,
even connecting them, as a marketer, I want to talk to people. I want to connect them with the right people, and not from a high level perspective, let's get in deep and figure out problems together. Not just for the security practitioner, but hey, I want to build something for you and I want to make it resonate. Help me help you. That's essentially what I want Audience First to do. And not, by the way, not just in the security space. I want to broaden into the IT space across different, because it's all interconnected at the end of the day. We're focusing right now on security because there are a lot of challenges to address and solve, but it's all interconnected. There's a lot of collaboration in the IT space, and the 5-year vision is to have more of me, more people of me that are like me, owning different kind of audience segments, and doing the same thing that I'm doing with security, but DevOps, right? Cloud, just going super broad and hyper specific. Because I didn't get any access to that, and Gartner didn't do anything for me, to be honest, apart from putting me on some report in a matrix.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to know the people. So, and I want people to get access to that. So. Yeah.
Well, I believe in you. I believe in Audience First. And I'm proud of just all of what you've accomplished so far. It's been so cool to watch your journey.
It's fun. You're part of that journey, obviously. You're part of the success. Again, you flying out here is fucking awesome. And It's inspiring to see your journey, and I'm really excited to see where you guys are going to go. Shout out to the Cyft team who's sitting back at home.
Hey guys.
Yeah. But it's been fun collaborating. It's been fun talking today. I know we're going to do a lot of more cool stuff coming up soon. But any imparting thoughts to the audience before we sign off?
I'd say you said something that really kind of resonated, which is help me, help you.
Yeah.
And so if there are any MSPs or value-added resellers and any of what we talked about today resonated in helping buyers buy the way that they want to, or that we're going into an AI-first world and you want to be part of that conversation, help me, help you. We're building for you guys. So we want to talk to you, whether you want to be a customer or just do a user interview and give us your insights. Help Cyft, help you. We want to work together.
And where can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, James Farrow, Farrow.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. We're going to do this again. I know we are. And I have some ideas, actually, to bring more folks in for these live sessions. This is awesome. I love the studio. Thanks to WTF Media Studios who have supported us in getting this nice setup. This has been another episode of Audience First. We are out.
Let's go.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Audience First. If you like what you've heard, feel free to follow or subscribe to Audience First on Apple, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast streamers.